What if the sun disappeared for 5 seconds? Seems like a really odd question. 5 seconds really isn't that long, but the sun is also so vital to everything on Earth as well as to the rest of our solar system. Even if it only disappeared for 5 seconds, that 5 seconds would be enough to cause some serious damage. The sun is 330,000 times the mass of our Earth, and every single second, it produces as much energy as 100 billion hydrogen bombs. The sun is so big that it's the dominant gravitational force in our solar system. The 8 planets, along with countless space objects, just orbit around it. To sum it all up, we need the sun. If it went anywhere, even just for 5 seconds, it would be a major catastrophe. It takes just about 8 minutes from light from the sun to reach the Earth. So if the sun disappeared for 5 seconds, we wouldn't even know about it until 8 minutes later. If the sun disappeared for 5 seconds, the parts of the world that were experiencing daylight at that time would get a very quick 5-second night where the stars are visible. The parts of the world that were experiencing night at the time of the sun's disappearance wouldn't see the moon. The moon doesn't have its own light, it simply reflects it from the sun. It would be complete and total darkness, minus the light from electricities and the stars. If the sun disappeared for 5 seconds, it might not be that big of a deal. At first, we'd still have electricity for those 5 seconds. Plants would stop making food because without the sun, there's no photosynthesis. They, of course, will continue to make food after the sun returns after 5 seconds. I guess you could say they might complain of a skipped meal. It's not necessarily the light from the sun going out for 5 seconds that we have to be worried about. It's how it would affect gravity in our solar system. The sun provides heat and light for our solar system, but the sun also basically holds everything together in the solar system. Interestingly enough, before Einstein, scientists assumed that gravity acted instantaneously. But in his theory of general relativity, Einstein pointed out that the force from gravity isn't instantaneous. Gravity travels at the speed of light as well. So we would see the sun go out and we would feel it disappear at the exact same time. If the sun disappeared, even if it were just for 5 seconds, every mass in the solar system would go into an unstable orbit. They would be sent flying in the direction that they were headed in a straight line rather than continuing their elliptical orbits. The Earth orbits the sun at a speed of 67,000 miles per hour, or 30 miles per second. Doing just a bit of math, you can calculate that the Earth's trajectory would only be off by less than a kilometer. Even though this doesn't seem like much, this could cause our planet to move further away from the sun. So when it goes back into orbit, the Earth could be quite a bit colder. This would affect the environment in many ways. Certain plants can survive in colder weather, and certain species of animals who rely on the heat would also suffer. It's difficult to determine just how extensive the impact of the sun disappearing for 5 seconds would be beyond that of gravitational. Which plants would survive, which animals would survive, is certainly not that well known. In extreme cases, its temporary disappearance would cause the objects in our solar system to be knocked off course, where eventually they could float away into space entirely and be lost forever, or would eventually crash into other objects in our solar system. Again, any crashes wouldn't happen right away because gravity also travels at the speed of light. But throwing our planets off course would definitely have long-term implications. You might not have known this, but the sun also creates a magnetic field around the entire solar system. This field is called the heliosheath, and it deflects harmful radiation particles that come from outside our solar system. Take away our sun, and the heliosheath is gone, which means that all the radiation that is currently blocked will be able to make it into our solar system. Once the sun returned, the heliosheath would be far less able to safely deflect all the radiation that bombarded our solar system from space. On the bright side, we would see a beautiful aurora light up in the atmosphere. But on the negative side, electrical grids that we rely on would short out, and satellites that are currently in orbit might stop functioning. This already happens when solar flares hit our planet. Thankfully, the sun isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and definitely isn't disappearing for 5 seconds either, unless we are in fact in just a simulation. Next up, let's see what would happen if the sun disappeared forever. You know what? That actually sounds like something we should save and talk about on another episode here on Discover Zen.